Hello, brothers and sisters of the church. Today I want to take a little look at Psalm chapter 77. You know, the writer here goes from a state of despair to hope. And despair in our lives, difficulties in our lives should always lead us to prayer. Now, oftentimes encourage people that we really need to be in a state of prayer at all times. The scripture tells us that. It can be a point, though, where people forget that the good times are rolling in a sense, and everything's at peace, so people forget to pray. But I really want to encourage people. We need to pray just as much, if not more, during the good times as we do during the times of difficulty. But in Psalm 77, we are encouraged to focus on the things that God has done for us in the past. And that's what we find in verse 11. It says, I shall remember the deeds of the Lord. Surely I will remember your wonders of old. You know, as the psalmist starts out here, he is just broken. It tells us he can't sleep at night. He doesn't even have the words for the anguish that he's feeling inside. But then he remembers all the things that God has done for him in the past. It's sort of like a sailor at sea and a violent storm is raging upon the waters and he becomes desperate. Where's land? I must reach land because the sea's going to engulf me. And then he sees the light from a lighthouse. You know, we in our life are oftentimes in seas of turmoil. And we need to remember the many lighthouses that have guided us to God's grace and how faithful He has always been to us. I want to read just a few of these verses from verse 11 and forward, because it really gives us that breaking moment, that time of encouragement. You've been in despair, you've been broken, but now remember what God has done. Psalm 77, verse 11, I shall remember the deeds of the Lord. Surely I will remember your wonders of old. I will meditate on all your work and muse on your deeds. Your way, O God, is holy. What God is great like our God? Again, many people in this world, they turn to a lot of things, but our God is the God, the only God. You are the God who works wonders. You have made known your strength among the peoples. You have your power redeemed your people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. So by God's power, He redeemed us, not of our own works, nothing that we have done. He redeemed us by His power. Well, for many years, I've kept journals. I've not been as faithful doing it since I've been back in the States. It was a regular, everyday activity when I was overseas, though. And those journals acted really for me as that lighthouse in a way, because I could see the difficulty that I'd been facing, and I could see how God had answered it, how He had responded. And I learned throughout the years that God will always act as long as I'm following Him and looking to Him. So I want to encourage you today, spend some time as the psalmist writes here, I will meditate on your works. Let's meditate on the things that God's done in our life. And don't wait for a time of despair to do that. Think about it today. Think about what God has done in your life and how He's always been faithful. Well, brothers and sisters, I do hope and pray that your day's going well. Until next week, God bless.